Hello, this is Rajeev Nalawadi, and today we'll be covering Matt Haig, who is a British novelist and journalist, and he was born in 1975 in Sheffield, England, and he went and studied at University of Hull and later the University of Leeds for a master's degree in creative writing. Despite his academic background in literature, Haig's career began with a lot of turmoil due to severe depression and anxiety, a period that significantly shaped his future writing. His literary career began with novels aimed at a younger audience, including some works like Shadow Forest and its sequel, The Runaway Troll, showcasing his knack for captivating, fantastic tales that appeal to children and adults. So all of his narration is amazing. He has contributed to both fiction and non-fiction with a lot of focus in all his works, novels, be it fiction or non-fiction, focusing a lot on mental health and human emotions that are blended with a lot of poignant narratives, very interesting narratives that are capturing for the reader. So drawing on his own experiences with depression and anxiety. So a lot of his novels and memoirs, very prolific author. So today I'll be covering a few fiction novels and one of his, I would call non-fiction and memoir, which is dependent on his life, and we'll cover that towards the end. So he has written even for a variety of newspapers and magazines, contributing essays and commentaries on culture, society, and overall mental health, and the stigma that goes with mental health. And he's a strong mental health advocate. So the first novel that we'll be covering today is The Midnight Library. Look at that amazing book cover. So the story centers around Nora Seed, a woman who is filled with regret and despair and feeling that her life is full of missed opportunities and wrong turns. Nora decides she can no longer bear the pain and attempts suicide. So instead of death, she finds herself in the Midnight Library. So this mystical library is overseen by the enigmatic Mrs. Elm. She exists literally between life and death. And this library exists between life and death. And it is filled with books, each one representing a different version of what Nora's life could have been made and had she made different choices. And in the Midnight Library, Nora is given a chance to undo her regrets by trying out these different alternate lives. So stepping into each one by opening a book, she experiences careers that she had dreamed of, relationships that she had forsaken and not taken up, and personal achievements. There were quite a few, and she had dismissed all of them. So she's navigating a spectrum of lives she might have led. So with each life she experiences, Nora begins to understand what is truly important to her and what it might actually mean to lead a fulfilled life. So throughout the novel, Nora confronts fundamental questions about the value of perfection, what it means to have that ideal perfection we all strive for, and the nature of happiness, and the significance really of connecting with others. So she grapples with the realization that every life, no matter what, how perfect it might seem from outside, it comes with its own forms of regret. And that happiness is really a deeply personal question that everyone needs to ask themselves and answer it on their own. Nobody can help them answer the question of what it really means to be happy as an individual. So the Midnight Library is an imaginative reflection on life's infinite possibilities, the choices we make, and some of the paths that are not taken. So Matt Haig uses a blend of magical realism and a lot of depth the introspective depth that comes from his own experiences to craft a narrative that is both uplifting and melancholy, encouraging the readers to reflect on their own life, the different choices, and the idea of what it means truly to be happy. We underestimate a lot of our personal achievements, and that's what this novel makes you reflect upon. And the novel resonates with anyone who has ever wondered the what if. So making it a relatable and moving read that stays, personally it stayed with me for a long time after the last page, and it still stays with me. This is how, by reading novels of this type, you can live yourself like 100 lives, right? Like following the protagonist and character, putting yourself in the position of that character while you're reading. That makes it both immersive and also very enjoyable. Personally, I like to do that. I put myself in the shoes of the protagonist or whatever character I like that. It's a compelling and thought-provoking novel that explores the themes of regret, life choices, and the endless possibilities of existence. It carries a unique narrative structure and deep philosophical exploration of happiness and the overall meaning of life. So the next novel we'll be going over is How to Stop Time. And this is again a very, very interesting read. I'm not following like in the timeline of how these novels were released. Some were released earlier, some later. So I'm not following that timeline structure for going over these novels. So How to Stop Time is another novel by Matt Haig. It follows the life of Tom Hazard, a man who appears to be in his early 40s, but is actually centuries old due to a rare condition called anageria, which causes him to age very slowly. So Tom has lived through history, moving from one identity to another to avoid detection and to cope with the isolation that comes from outliving all those he has loved. Right, and his long lifespan has several key moments in history, and he interacts with historical figures like Shakespeare, Captain Cook, and Scott Fitzgerald. So what do you do when you have to meet these characters in a specific locale which they have been known to live in, and the timeline that they have been known to live in? So Tom meets Shakespeare, one of his characters here, right, during his time in Elizabethan London, where he works as a lute player. So Shakespeare is portrayed as a very charismatic and intriguing character, and their interaction adds a layer of historical richness to the novel. So do other characters like Captain Cook and Scott Fitzgerald. So the thrilling adventures and experiences, Tom's extended life is portrayed as a curse rather than a blessing. So it brings immense emotional pain from losing the loved ones and him being left behind. What does he do now? So in the present day, Tom teaches history in a London high school, using his personal experiences to enrich his lessons. However, he remains cautious and follows the rules set by the Albatross Society. This is a secretive group that protects people like Tom, and essentially the society's primary goal is that you shouldn't be falling in love. But this becomes increasingly difficult for Tom Hazard, and him being a history teacher, he gets to fall in love. Of course, like that's a human condition, right? With like a French teacher. So that is also explored in this novel. So driven by his desire for a normal life and the haunting memories of his past, a long lost daughter who shares his condition, and Tom's narrative is an exploration of this particular human condition and what it means if we all were to live longer, right? And what would we do, and how would we be able to tackle it? And is our short life, worth more than what Tom is going through? So that's what you get to grapple with, the sort of existential questions about the meaning of time and the nature of life and death and our overall quest for happiness. Everybody has that quest for happiness. So Tom's journey is about finding a way to live a meaningful life in the face of the endless time that stretches before him. So, How to Stop Time is a thoughtful reflection on the impact of time on human relationships and the eternal quest for contentment and overall belonging. And Matt Haig's storytelling is both imaginative and deeply human, making the novel a profoundly moving tale that resonates with everyone who has ever pondered the fleeting nature of time and how much time do we have left, and then the enduring power of love that makes whatever time we have together more meaningful. That love is what makes it meaningful. And Benedict Cumberbatch is set to star in a TV series adaptation of this novel. Initially, it was planned as a film. The project has since been developed into a 6-part series by Studio Canal, and Cumberbatch is playing the lead role of Tom Hazel, a man who has been alive for centuries due to this rare condition. And I would literally go and watch this TV series whenever it ends up releasing. But a novel before you get to the series would be a good idea, and I would certainly recommend that with Matt Haig's very elegant lifestyle, telling this story of Tom Hazel. And it sort of is reuniting Cumberbatch with director who directed him in Le Carre's spy novel, Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. And Le Carre's novel we have reviewed in one of my previous videos, so do go and watch that. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy is also a wonderful movie adaptation, and also a novel that I have reviewed. The next one is The Humans. The Humans is very interesting. Look at those tall figures. You can probably guess what that is, right? And the story revolves around an alien being kind of takes over the body of this mathematician professor at Cambridge University. So after Martin has solved a mathematical problem that could potentially change the course of human history, the novel begins with the alien's mission to erase any evidence of Professor Martin's discovery, as well as anyone who might have any knowledge of it. So the alien has that single role to get into Martin's life, and then this includes different Martin's colleagues, the friends, and even his family. So the alien is impersonating Martin, and it begins to immerse itself in dealing with human life and Martin's life here, right? And it encounters the complexities of human emotions, relationships, and the world's often irrational and chaotic nature. The humans have been known to live with all these irrational things. And initially, the alien is viewing the humans with disdain due to their self-destructive and irrational behaviors, but the alien gradually starts to appreciate the beauty of the human experiences and the simple pleasure of eating peanut butter to the complex emotional connections between the people. So it ranges a spectrum of things that the alien gets to experience as part of this human impersonation that it is going through. So it develops attachments to Martin's wife, Isabel, and their son, Gulliver, experiencing love, fear, and the other emotions that it was supposed to be really immune to. Oh, you may hear that woodpecker. I sit outside and there is this woodpecker that keeps heading on the wood there. So it may be like that woodpecker noise will also get recorded here. Through the eyes of an outsider, Haig explores what it means to be human, the absurdities and the wonders of human life. So the themes of love, identity, and the meaning of life woven through this narrative as the alien learns more about the humanity and ultimately about itself. So the alien learns more about itself. The Humans is both a humorous and poignant examination of the human condition. It is filled with a lot of insights about the fragility and the resilience of the life itself. The novel challenges readers to consider their own views of humanity and the values we hold dear, making it a compelling read that stays with you long after you have turned the last page. The novel blends the elements of science fiction with dark humor and philosophical reflection. The Dead Fathers Club is a very, very interesting narrative. It is from the perspective of an 11-year-old boy and the story of Philip, and who encounters the ghost of his recently deceased father. The story begins shortly after Philip's father dies in a car accident. So Philip's life takes a surreal turn when his father's ghost appears to him in the family's pub, the castle and the falcon, and reveals that his death was by no accident. And according to the ghost, he was murdered by his own brother and the uncle, Alan, who not only plans to take over the family business but also marry Philip's mother. So the ghost charges Philip with the task of avenging for his murder, setting the young boy on a dark and confusing path. And the novel captures Philip's inner turmoil and his struggle with the moral implications of the ghost's demand that he has to avenge for this murder. As a child, Philip is ill-equipped to deal with the complex emotions surrounding his father's death, his mother's grief, and the apparent betrayal by his uncle, that he all has to consume this and make his own decision of what to do. The ghost's frequent appearances only add to Philip's distress, as he is torn between his innate sense of right and wrong and what the ghost wants as part of vengeance and revenge. The Dead Fathers Club offers a unique twist on the classic themes of Hamlet. Shakespeare, the King of Denmark, and the uncle gets to take over the position, marry the princess, and so on. And overall, it's a different theme though, but it's a different, unique twist of Hamlet, I would say. So if you have read Hamlet, you will certainly enjoy this one. And overall death, revenge, and family loyalty, which is explored, and the impact of grief on the youth itself. Haig skillfully navigates the thin line between the supernatural and the psychological, leaving it to the readers to question the reality of the ghost and whether it is a manifestation of Philip's own coping mechanisms. How would he cope with it? So that's what Shakespeare had done as well, right? And Matt Haig's narrative style in this novel is both humorous and a lot of humor, and it's capturing the innocence and sincerity of the young protagonist, Philip. And the novel addresses the serious themes through the eyes of a child, lending it both a lightness and an overall depth which makes it accessible and compelling for a wide range of readers. And no matter what your age, young adult, and even very mature adults, old people, you will love this. You will love to read this novel. Overall, The Dead Fathers Club is a striking and memorable novel that offers a fresh perspective on a classic story. And this would, I would not be surprised a few years from now, it would be named as our contemporary classic novel. And it's Haig's own, while showcasing his ability to blend the whimsical with the weighty, kind of this modern storytelling in this modern world. The last one, The Reasons to Live, is Reasons to Stay Alive, is a non-fiction novel. The others were all fiction novels, as you know. The book begins with Haig recounting a pivotal moment in his life at the age of 24, living in Ibiza, and he came very close to committing suicide. And he describes standing at the edge of the cliff, and with a lot of depression and despair, yet he made the decision not to jump. And this moment marks the beginning of his long and difficult journey towards understanding and managing his own mental health. It's up to us to manage our own mental health, and that's what Matt Haig draws upon. So The Reasons to Stay Alive is structured in very short, digestible chapters that kind of blend memoir and a sort of advice, and also the reflections from Haig. It's detailing the physical and emotional sensations with sort of that sensitivity that only a person who has gone through can understand and put it through in the form of a book. And he discusses overall the stigma that is surrounding mental illness, the challenges where everybody who is going through these sort of conditions, the challenges of discussing it openly, and the impact of his condition on his relationships, particularly with his partner Andrea, who plays a crucial role in his recovery. And it's not just a personal narrative, and the book is providing sort of a beacon of hope and a survival guide. It offers a lot of insights of what helped. So literature plays a huge role, right? So go read, get into that habit of reading the books, and even if you keep collecting the books, collect them. I have gone through the concept of sundoku, which is a Japanese concept of collecting books that are waiting for their own time to be opened and revealed. So go do that, and I would encourage anybody to become a reader. Essentially, people who are subscribed here are of course readers, but some people may be subscribing and just thinking about it. So do go ahead and start reading. Come from anywhere, right? And this actually helped Matt Haig, and he emphasizes that recovery is not linear, and it involves understanding and learning to live with depression rather than trying to find a quick fix. That doesn't exist and doesn't happen anywhere. So the Haig sort of lists the things that have happened and happened to him, what has generated more sympathy and sort of going through this depression. So Reasons to Stay Alive is infused with still a lot of humor, even though the topic is very deep and thought-provoking. He offers a lot of direct and uplifting messages to the reader. And the book is not only for those who have experienced similar conditions, but also the loved ones. We don't know when we may be asked to intervene in a particular loved one or somebody we are close to. It helps such challenges. So the Reasons to Stay Alive is celebrated, I would say, or needs to be celebrated for its candor and honesty and the ability to articulate the silent, which is the suffering that the person is going through and the struggle of living with mental illnesses. And it resonates due to Haig's vulnerabilities, personal one in this case, and the ability to find light in this overall darkness, light at that end of the tunnel, right? And there is always that end of the tunnel and a nice bright light, not from taking your own life, but leading a fruitful life. It's a powerful testament to survival and the reasons we choose to keep living, no matter how hard it may seem to all of us. So the book offers an honest and often raw look at this, at his personal struggle, the recovery, and the path that was taken, and the lessons learned along the way, while also providing comfort and guidance to others that are suffering from similar mental health issues, especially young adults who are going through that coming of age kind of scenarios. It's a very good read, even though it's a non-fiction. Usually youths like to read a lot of fiction, but this is one non-fiction book that I would love to recommend to most of my subscribers or any new subscribers as well. So thank you. That's it for today, and see you soon with another novelist and their novels.